The Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended trading hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.
Let's get into it then with our Stock of the Day. As I said, we've obviously got the focus there on small caps. And the stock we're going to take a look at today is Amaero, ticker code 3DA. It is focused on refractory specialty alloy and powder production for additive manufacturing. For components in the defence, space and aviation industries, the 3D printing company receiving a $4.6 million order from Titomic. Amaero is the exclusive supplier for the company and will provide the manufacturer with refractory and titanium powders to be used for a defence project. So let's get the assessment of Amaero and how it's looking at the moment. Luke, let's start with you.
Yeah, look, super interesting business. Had it come up a few times, and there's no doubt they're doing some really interesting things in some really interesting places. So they're in that sort of atomized powder market. I believe the two key ones are a C103 powder, primarily based on niobium. I'm going to go out of my depth here a bit, Andrew, so bear with me. And that's primarily used in hypersonic or supersonic missiles, those things where, effectively really exposed to intense speeds and heat. And then also some titanium powders as well, which is sort of the announcement today and why we've got it as Stock of the Day. They're working with Titomic, a fellow listed business. I've always struggled a bit with this one because it's one of those businesses, it's attacking some big end markets. There is a real commercial use for their products, high margins if they can, obviously attack that and get it to scale. But we're well and truly still in the ramp up phase of this business. Just went back and looked at the last quarterly, and I know, we're sort of, as I said, in that in between phase where revenues are just ramping up and they're still sort of fitting out their factory over there in Tennessee. But just as an example, even last quarter, about a $10 million cash burn with operating costs and another circa 12 odd mil spent on capex as well, bringing a second atomizer into production. 50 mil cash in the bank though, so that's something that I think investors can sort of look to and say, well, we're not going to get tapped on the shoulder anytime soon. They raised capital a few months ago. So look, for me, I'm on the sidelines with this one, but I think it's worthy of a watch list. That defense thematic, the steam has sort of come out of it the last few weeks. Drone Shield, has been a big part of that, given the issues it's had. But nonetheless, despite the thematic cooling on the market, I think the fundamental drivers for these businesses are still very much intact with defense spending and government spending. So for me, on the sidelines, but this is one to keep an eye on because they're calling out this real scale of revenue now, 5 and a bit mil in the first quarter. They're targeting 30 to 35 for the full year. So, based on that guidance, obviously scaling up throughout the year and getting towards hopefully some profitability. I don't think we see it this year, maybe FY27, FY28. So the way I invest, though, I'd rather sit on the sidelines, wait for that profitability inflection and then jump in. But, if you're there, I would probably continue to hold it today.
Yep, a hold or otherwise a watch and wait from Luke. Dean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's still got a reasonable market cap given it's very, very pre-profit and almost pre-revenue. I mean, they're doing a little bit of revenue, but not much. So you've got sort of a $250 million market cap there. They've raised quite a bit of money over the last sort of 12 months, mainly at levels above where it's trading now. So maybe there could be a little bit of selling pressure there. Again, like Luke's point that these defence businesses have all started to fall a little bit out of favour. Kind of led by Drone Shield, but you've seen like Metal Powder Works, which is a really similar atomizing business, AML 3D, Titomic, they've all been weaker. So this sector kind of moves with a lot of momentum, and I think that's kind of stalled a little bit at the moment. Business like this, again, the efficiency, profitability of the factory is yet to be proven. So there's quite a lot of operational risk there. It still looks like it's being valued, pretty optimistically. Hank Holland, the MD, I find him a bit of like a American spruiker, and so I tend to take a lot of what he says with a grain of salt, but that might just be me. So, yeah, look, I could not agree with Luke. You know, if you're there, you'd probably continue to hold it, but I probably too conservative to be jumping in and buying it right at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much similar view then. Willing to hold, but both wanting to watch and wait, essentially, particularly for some more news. All right, that is our stock of the day, Amaero.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.